This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America for this Thursday morning. We should have a fun show for you today. Regular visit from John DeSilva, racingwithbruno.com. We will take a look at some racing at Aqueduct for this afternoon. Also, they have four New York State Sire Stakes races down at Aqueduct on Saturday, so we'll take a look at some of that action as well. Coming up about 10:30, Dave Rodman will take a look back at a couple of the nice stakes races they had at Laurel last weekend and get some ideas for this afternoon at Laurel. And happy to be joined today by Richard Linehan, writes for Tulsa World. He covers horse racing out in that mid-America region of Oklahoma. Actually works at Fair Meadows, but recently wrote an article for Tulsa World looking at a good two-year-old performance out at Remington Park. It's that time of year where we focus on two-year-olds. It was a two-year-old filly, maybe worth keeping our eyes on going forward. So we'll watch that race and get some thoughts for today in their racing out at Remington Park, because Richard Linehan also handicaps the races at Remington for Tulsa World each racing day. So that's coming up on today's show. Do want to remind you some events here at the Clubhouse Racebook. Today at the Clubhouse Racebook, come on down 711 Central Avenue in Albany. There is a knockout challenge contest here at the Clubhouse Racebook. You have to be present to win and play in the contest. The contest itself will take place Aqueduct races 2 through 7. After the 7th race, a winner is named. The winner receives a $100 win, place, or show bet, a $100 bet, but you can pick win, place, or show that you get to bet on the 8th race at Aqueduct today. So it should be fun. Knockout challenge today, this afternoon, at the Clubhouse Racebook in Albany. Again, you have to come on down here. Also want to remind you that the monthly handicapping contest that we have down here at the Clubhouse Racebook, the year-long monthly contest wrap up next month, obviously in December, and the monthly contest in December is December 7th. It will be the Capital Cup Championship, with the winner receiving a prize package including a seat at the NTRA DRF Handicapping Championship out in Las Vegas. Find out more information at capitalotb.com. $200 entry fee, maximum 3 entries per person. You should sign up by December 6th to guarantee yourself a spot. But again, you can find more info on the Capital Cup Championship Saturday, December 1st, here at the Clubhouse Racebook. More info, capitalotb.com. And just wanted to remind you one more thing. Picked up a flyer out here in the front of the Racebook this morning. Kind of interesting. If you're a pool player, an 8-ball pool player in particular, the new Partners 8-Ball Pool League is forming now right here at the Clubhouse Racebook. Thursday nights starting December 5th, they will be putting together the 8-Ball Pool League right here at the Clubhouse Racebook, with first matches starting on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Again, more info, come on down to the Clubhouse Racebook, sign up. Partners 8-Ball Pool League is forming first night Thursday, December 5th. So sounds like fun. Also want to give you a reminder, we had Michael Amo on yesterday, who's one of the panel members, but do want to remind you that the New York Fan Advisory Council is holding a meeting in our area this weekend. They bounce around the tracks around the state. And the New York State Fan Advisory Council, they're charged with collecting ideas, concerns from horse players in the state, and then issuing formal recommendations on improving horse racing, and issue that report to state government and policymakers. So this is your way to get any questions, concerns, comments you have about horse racing in New York out to first the Fan Advisory Council, and then those comments get moved on again to the movers and shakers in New York State. So if you have some thoughts you want to convey to the people that make the decisions in New York State on horse racing, your chances now. The New York Fan Advisory Council, they have a meeting this weekend in the area up at the Saratoga Harness Track, Sunday at 11 a.m. So you can go up there. The whole point is to get public input. So if you have some thoughts, questions, comments about New York horse racing, show up at the Saratoga Harness Track on Sunday, this Sunday, November 24th at 11 a.m., and the New York Fan Advisory Council will be happy to hear your thoughts. Speaking of government and government in horse racing, there is a U.S. House committee hearing on horse racing this morning. We'll have to see how that shakes out. They have a subcommittee hearing scheduled that is looking potentially at legislation to put a federal body in charge of the medication rules and medication testing in the horse racing game. It should be interesting to see how this plays out. I think it was scheduled to start about 5 minutes ago at 10 a.m. So we'll see how this plays out and eventually how potential legislation plays out. I said yesterday there were a couple of nice opposing views being expressed on ESPN.com. Gary West, who is in the against column, against federal intervention, has an ESPN column called Roll Out the Red Tape. Meanwhile, a couple of days earlier, Bill Finley had come out with an ESPN column called Congress, Please Save Itself from Racing. I am far more in the Gary West camp. And read his article, and he makes a very good case that federal intervention is not what horse racing should be going after. It's one of those watch out what you wish for kind of things. So we'll see how this shakes out. Again, that House subcommittee hearing is this morning. Should have started about 5 minutes ago. They have a panel of 5 that to me seemed a little tilted in favor of taking a little pounding on horse racing. But we'll see. We'll see what comes out of the hearing this morning. The Aqueduct Cigar Mile is turning out to be a spectacular race with a number of Grade 1 winners entered. It looks like Flat Out will now be aiming towards the Cigar Mile. Alpha, who was potentially going to be there, is still being considered, but Karen McLaughlin says Alpha is also being considered for the Hawthorne Gold Cup. So Alpha may be out, but Flat Out is now potentially in. So Flat Out, one of 8 Grade 1 winners who are potentially headed for the Cigar Mile. Throw in Golden Sense, Private Zone, Capo Bastone, Golden Ticket, of course, Groupie Doll, Verrazano, Clearly Now, 40 Tails, Laugh Track, and Bill Parcells Saratoga Snacks. It is shaping up to be just a phenomenal field in the Cigar Mile at Aqueduct, so we're really looking forward to it. Racing does not close up shop after the Breeders' Cup, because not only the Cigar Mile, but that Clark down at Churchill Downs is also shaping up to be a really, really spectacular race. Bob Baffert is pretty much confirmed. Game on Dude is going to head there, and it looks like Will Take Charge is pretty much confirmed as well. So a couple of really nice late season races coming up in the next week and a half or so. News yesterday, champion Royal Delta was retired. Talked a little bit about it on the Handicappers Report earlier. It was just good to see her come back for a 5-year-old season. A lot of times horses at that caliber, they don't make it to the 5-year-old season on the racetrack. They're sent out to retirement in the breeding shed prior to that. But she came back, a nice 5-year-old season. It probably wasn't what they had hoped for ultimately. They tried Dubai again. That was a little bit of a dud. But they did get the Delaware Handicap win. They came up and won a Grade 1 in the personal ensign at Saratoga. Then the disappointing finish behind Princess Asilmar, 2 starts back at Belmont, and then the disappointing finish in the Breeders' Cup. Obviously, those last couple of races probably sealed the deal, but she's already a 5-year-old. To expect her to come back as a 6-year-old might have been too much to expect anyway, so the handwriting was kind of on the wall given her age and the last couple of finishes she had. But boy, she certainly had a very spectacular career. And again, the 5-year-old season was, most horses, most owners and trainers and connections would be happy to have their horse have a season like she had this year. And we got to see, again, a nice Grade 1 win from her in her 5-year-old season right up here at Saratoga. Jay Hovney, if you haven't read it, I've had this in my pile for a few days now, just less than a week or so ago, wrote an article entitled Jockeys Endure Brutal Version of Survivor Daily. And he makes the point, brings up in one paragraph some of the jockeys this year who have gone to the sidelines for some amount of time. Rajiv Marat had a fractured vertebrae sustained on New Year's Eve at Aqueduct. Subsequently, Ramon Dominguez, of course, went down at Aqueduct and had head injuries that led to his retirement. John Velasquez, back in April, fractured a rib and broke a bone in his wrist. Joel Rosario broke a foot at Saratoga. Velasquez, again, of course, had that injury at the Breeders' Cup. And as Hovde says, these are riders everyone knows, but certainly there are riders that aren't as familiar to us or as much in the public consciousness that also go down. The Jockeys Club representative is quoted in here as saying, last year and the year before, we've been averaging 18 to 19% of the jocks who were out at one time or another on temporary disability. So it's just worth keeping in mind that it is a very, very dangerous sport. We should tip our hat to the guys who go out there every day. And I bring up the Hovde article from a little less than a week ago because the article that came out yesterday in the Daily Racing Form. The new New York Task Force on Jockey Health and Safety had its first meeting, and the New York Task Force on Jockey Health and Safety is going to recommend ideas on jockey health benefits to Governor Cuomo. They'll issue those recommendations next year, and if you read the article, they're talking about some of the participants at this meeting that was held feeling that New York is maybe lagging behind some of the other states in providing health coverage and benefits. It is, as the article notes, it's a hot button issue because these are independent contractors and there is pushback when it's talk about perhaps the industry subsidizing some of those costs. But again, it's a dangerous sport, and I think you read something like the Hovde article and you think there has to be some happy medium where the jockeys are protected in a way that we as fans can feel good that we participate in the sport and these guys are getting the protection and coverage they deserve, while at the same time, not taking away from the other side of the game, the other participants, the owners and the trainers and the bettors as well, not taking at least as much away as would sour us on the idea. And I think there is some kind of happy medium, but we'll see what this New York Task Force does with their recommendations moving forward and then how the state reacts to that. All right, we're going to head to our first commercial break. As we do, pulled up they have some nice videos often on that America's Best Racing website, the followhorseracing.com website. And I pulled up a nice video that includes Terry Pompey, and it's just was a little 2-minute video that talked about shoeing a horse, how it's done, what the blacksmith does with the whole process. You get a close-up look at it. And it was just recently on the ABR website. I thought it was worth taking a little bit of a look at as we go into the break. Again, about 2 minutes, just give you a little inside look at the shoeing of a racehorse. All of that coming up, and after the break, we'll have John DeSilva from RacingWithBruno.com for a little talk about New York racing for this afternoon and out on the weekend as well. All of that right after this.
For Racing 101, I'm Joe Christofak. High tops, sandals, flats, heels. Humans wear a variety of different shoes for a variety of different reasons. In horse racing, comfort is critical to success. To explain the hoof of the animal and why horses change their shoes on a regular basis, we've employed trainer Terry Pompey. And Terry, a horse's foot is a lot different than a human foot.
Yes, it is. It's a hoof, and this is what an average kind of horseshoe looks like. It's aluminum. We race in aluminum because it's lighter than steel shoes. The only thing is that we have to change them on a regular basis. Each horse is different. Some horses grow hoofs a little faster than others, so around the 3-week mark we kind of watch. We don't want to cut them too short, but we want to keep the toe short so when the horse is running he can break over with ease. It's his natural movement. The hoof is like a hard substance like horn, and basically the outside wall is dead tissue. It grows from the cornet band down, and so the outside, just like the tip of your fingernail, there's really no feeling there. So what the blacksmith does is he nails little thin nails, and the nail automatically curves to the outside of the horse's hoof. And then if you watch a blacksmith, he'll trim that excess little nail down on both sides, and then he has something called a clinch, which he squeezes the nail flat and then he files it. So when you look at a horse's foot, you can really see the little bits of the end of the nail sticking out in the outside wall of the foot, but it's flat and it doesn't catch on anything and it doesn't hurt the horse at all.
Well, thanks for that explanation, Terry. It's been about a month for me, so Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Unfortunately, I think I'm in the wrong store. For Racing 101, I'm Joe Christofak.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2013 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2014 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month, the Capital Cup on December 7th. So sign up today online at CapitalOTB.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook. And don't forget our Showviver Series, Capital OTB's online handicapping contest.
I'm Anthony Mormino. Join me weekdays at 9 for the Handicappers Report. We'll handicap the top tracks across the country and help you prepare for the day in racing. That's the Handicappers Report, weekdays at 9, only on the OTB TV network.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Thursday morning. And if it's Thursday morning, it means John DeSilva of RacingWithBruno.com. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How's everything?
Very good. Happy to have you on board, as always. A little cool here in upstate New York. What's the weather like down your way?
It's a little cool down here as well. It could have been worse. Thankfully, it's not. You know, the sun is out. I did see that the last race, again, has been taken off the grass for reasons unknown. But, you know, what are you going to do? These are things that happen. But we should get around 50 degrees today. No threatened rain. So we should be able to have a nice day of racing here.
Will we make it into December with turf racing?
Well, that's the big question because, A, the weather is always going to be a factor, but B, with P.J. Campo gone and the man hasn't seen a grass race he didn't like, you know, you just have to wonder whoever takes over with the condition book, will he try to push the grass or not, or will he maybe try to push dirt, which what we're supposed to be doing in the first place.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see. There was an article in the Racing Forum just within the past 24 hours, I think, talking about PJ getting off to a start down at Gulfstream down in Florida. We had him on television a week and a half or so ago talking about coming back on Thanksgiving and kind of helping to get Martin Panza up to speed. So that transition certainly is going to be interesting to watch. Just before we get to today and out to this coming weekend, want to go out another weekend and just get your thoughts. How about this Cigar Mile? Is this shaping up to be a bang-up race or what?
It's going to be a tremendous race. I mean, I like the little extra money that they're putting in there to attract horses like Groupie Doll and Golden Sense and Private Zone. I mean, it's going to be terrific. We need a race like this. It's a signature race because afterwards it seems to go downhill with Mufti in the track and the quality is not the same. But this is the race that's going to put people on the map. And who knows, it could have some eclipse implications here.
Absolutely, and that's what makes it interesting. I said before the break, I was talking a little bit about that race and the Clark, and people tend to wrap a bow on the season after the Breeders' Cup. There's still plenty of good racing, and that Cigar Mile is going to be one of the highlights of the racing year, I think. All right, John, let's take a look out at some of the races for this afternoon and get some of your thoughts there. We will be on the grass in the fourth race today, mile and a 16th on the turf. It's a maiden claimer, 35 to 40 tags. Your thoughts?
I'm going to the rail with number 2, Theater Star. Dale Rome's trainee, drops in class. Basically ran an even race on the yielding turf course in April. Hasn't run since then. Has been working out pretty well for the spot. Joel Rosario picks up the mount for the Paul Pompa-owned horse, and I think this is horse by drawing the rail and having Rosario should get a nice ground-saving trip and get up for the victory.
Yeah, I looked at Churchill today on the handicapper support. My partner Jeff Carl was looking at Aqueduct, and he had Theater Star in the mix underneath at some point. But as he was talking about the horse, I was looking and thinking this horse is very interesting. Maybe a little added maturity off the layoff and the move maiden special weight to maiden claimer. But what did jump off the page? Joel Rosario accepts the mount.
No doubt about it, and he may not be the favorite, which I don't mind at all, because I think people who look at I'm Smoking Hot, who hasn't run since September, going shorter, and also another horse you may want to look at in there, the two horses who are dropping from maiden specials down to maiden claims are Sunday School and Bitty Kitty. Both of them, I think, could be decent prices.
Yeah, it looks like a fun race. We have another fun little maiden race out in race number 6 today. Maiden tags of 35,000. These are state-bred 2-year-old fillies. They're scheduled to go 6 furlongs.
And I'm also going with another drop down here. I'm going with number 6, She's a Sizzler. Now, this is a horse who tried grass for the first time last time out and didn't exactly like it too much. But the 2/3 starts, the horse does have a second and a third. With a drop down and a little bit of a layoff, I think She's a Sizzler at 4-1 Scott Schwartz might go off that price, maybe a little higher there. It'll be interesting to see if any first-time starters take money, but a horse like Margaret Owns It, who's the 3-1 favorite, I definitely want to beat.
Yeah, this is one of those races where and my partner Jeff Carl always says it, you look for some fresher faces in here as opposed to the ones that have had plenty of chances and haven't gotten it done. Or if you're going with the horses that have had some chances and haven't gotten it done, at least look for a little bit more value. So yeah, favorites in races like this are certainly worth taking a little bit of a shot against.
Especially when you have returning jockey in Wilmer Garcia, who's coming off an injury. Now, some people say bet the injured jockey first race off the injury layoff, even though this is the second race off the injury layoff for Garcia, since he's riding the third race with John Morrison. But he's probably going to get a little bit overbet, and coming from maiden 20 to maiden 35, that is a little bit of a difference.
Was Garcia over at Penn National for a while?
He was over at Penn National. That's where he began his career, and then he came to New York. Then after that car accident in January, he was recovering over there, and then he came back. Then he got injured again, so I think he went back there because his girlfriend is there. So he's going back and forth a lot, but I think he's going to be here now as long as he's healthy.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on him because of
Not
course.
as crazy as Laura Carson, though. I don't know if you saw what she's been doing.
No.
You know, where she was at Parks for a while, she came back to ride in New York, then all of a sudden, on Monday and Tuesday, she was riding at Beulah and Mountaineer, and now she's back in New York.
Well, there you go, putting on the miles on the car, I guess. That is definitely an interesting circuit to pursue. These like Franco, it's not unusual to see him bounce around to Parks on the dark days, or when it was open, maybe even Delaware or down to Laurel or something. But that seems to be a little more in driving distance than Ohio.
And you have to do whatever you can to get the experience. And for someone like Laura Carson, who's been around for a while but hasn't been getting the opportunities, if she can get some mounts in a place like Mountaineer or Beulah Park, let's do it. Now, Mountaineer, she's not going to move to because they're going to take a 3-month break at the end of the year, but maybe she might be looking at maybe establishing ties in Ohio in a little while, because let's face it, we have a lot of good apprentice jockeys here already.
Yeah, in Ohio with the slots money now, maybe it not be a bad place to get your career off the ground. And speaking of Garcia, of course, he was the guy who last year, not 2013, but 2012, had that crazy string of long shots up at Saratoga that made him a little bit notable.
Yeah, it was Garcia last year, and Jalissa Laredo, who's back this year, who's a journeyman, and as her agent says, she's an inner-track specialist, so watch out for her there.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on all of them. 7th at Aqueduct today, it is a plain vanilla claimer at the $20,000 level. These are 3-year-olds and up, scheduled on the turf at a mile.
I'm looking at number 3, Foolish Tiger. This is a horse who at this $20,000 with a couple of conditions in there ran third. Like I said, this is open 20, and the horse actually is taking a little bit of a dropping. It looks like dropping class in here, but going a mile. You got Lascano. The horse did show good tactical speed last time out, and usually when this horse runs his best races, it is running on the inside, showing good tactical speed. So I think Lascano definitely gets the job done here. Will stalk Miss
Very good. And it does look like Jose Lezcano last time out got a good ride. Jose Lezcano back today. 2 starts back, was with the aforementioned Franco, but Lezcano on board again today, as I say, off a good race last time. All right, John, let's take a look out at the weekend. Again, there are 4 nice New York Sire Stakes races down at Aqueduct on Saturday. Let's take a look at some of those. And let's start with the big race, the New York Stallion Series Thunder Rumble division, 7 furlongs for the older horses, 3-year-olds and up. And in fact, one of the horses that I'm going to take a look at in here with video is a 3-year-old, West Hills Giant. I'm going to go 2 races back. That was the last time that West Hills Giant was in a restricted, similar New York Stallion Series Stakes race. That was up at Saratoga. That one was on the grass. We're going to watch the stretch run. A little bit of a controversial finish, as West Hills Giant will finish second behind Areno, right. And there was an inquiry, obviously, and things were switched. West Hills Giant is going to be moved up to the finish. We see West Hills Giant here on the rail. Things are going to get a little tight, and subsequently, again, there was a DQ in this race. But as I say, this was the last time West Hills Giant was seen in a similar type race, 2 races back at Saratoga. Your thoughts on this division of the New York Stallion?
This is a tremendous race. There seems to be a lot of speed in the race. Now, the one thing about West Hills Giant is he's only 1 for 5 on dirt. No 1 for 3 on fast, no for 2 on an off track. I'm not even talking about synthetics. But this is the type of horse who usually is on or pretty close to the early, cutting back in distance, switching to the dirt today. They're taking advantage of being eligible for this New York Stallion Series here. But to me, even Rosario up, this is the type of horse you definitely want to take advantage of and bet against, because if he has to go up against horses like Reed, the Byline, Smooth Bird, or Reno, I mean, it's going to set it up for a closer. Now, a couple of interesting horses you may want to look at here. You're going to have to look at the Jacobson entry. I mean, Sports Rider ran very well to be second, first off the claim, and now stretches out here. And then Uncle T7, this is a horse who, John Morrison, did tire last time out, but usually does his best running coming from off the pace, so maybe Uncle T7 could take advantage of that as well. And the other Jacobson horse, Uncle Smokey, you have to look at too. You got Junior Alvarado now riding after this horse won under Escobar last time out. It's going to be good value. Definitely the men value. You may want to spread out here, because even a horse like Ultimate Empire, who ran second the last 2 starts, will take money but has the same type of running style. So to me, if you're going to be betting these multi-race bets, definitely spread out. Hey, even a horse like Jackstar Wild for Robbie Davis could sneak up in there.
Very good. Let's take a look earlier on the card, the 2-year-old division, the Great White Way division of the New York Stallion Series. 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs. Your thoughts there?
Well, we're looking at the Great White Way here, and you're going to look at a horse like, on the bottom, Social Rebellion, who was looking good coming off the pace for Russell Cass on the grass, and then did absolutely nothing, cuts back to the dirt today. I think this horse could dirt very well. You want to look at that. You got a horse like Free Mugatu, who won at Saratoga, and then last time out at Finger Lakes, the horse did tire and did drift out of the fourth. I think horse probably has some injuries last time out, but you're going to have to beat Empire Dreams. I mean, the horse did run second to Wide Brian, who is the 2-year-old New York bred champion, no doubt about it. Draws the rail, cuts back to 6 furlongs. Horse is going to be coming from off the pace, and as long as he stays out of trouble, and Empire Dreams could do it, but I would use those other 2 horses in the Exacta or the Quinella with a little bit of value there.
All right, let's look out at the 5th race on Saturday, yet another division of this New York Stallion Series. This one is the 5th Avenue. It is for 2-year-old fillies, and again, they're going to go 6 furlongs.
And a lot of people looking at Miss Narcissus, who won the Joe Jimma very impressively last time out, seeks the 3rd consecutive victory for Linda Rice. And I don't know if there's really anybody here that I could honestly say is going to threat. The only horse who I will give a shot to is going to be Missy Bay, because this horse did come off the pace to break the maiden by nose, but that was on the grass. I'm not sure this horse could dirt. The horse has never tried dirt, but at least the horse has the running style. Let's just see he likes the surface.
Yeah, Miss Narcissus just looks like one of those horses that's probably meant to face open company, and they're just taking advantage of these nice purses until they have to make the move. And she does certainly look to lay over this field, no question about it. And finally, the fourth and final stakes race we'll take a look at from Saturday in that New York Stallion Series, the Staten Island for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. In this race, they're going to go 7 furlongs.
They're going 7 furlongs, and we have the horse here that we're not sure. Is a horse eligible? Is a horse not eligible? But I guess they finally figured it out when Kelly got Frosty, who is back in this race. Remember last year the horse did finish first and then got disqualified, and they said the horse wasn't eligible, but looks like things are fixed. So he's trained by the hottest trainer in the country, it seems, Rudy Rodriguez, draws like a Cornelio Velasquez there, and this is a horse who came from off the pace to be third, while coming off the layoff, so maybe Rudy got this horse to relax a little bit. So if this horse could repeat that, could be very dangerous. He also has Vicky's Dancer, who ran 4th in Iroquois, first off the claim, returned to third for Rudy. But then we have to look at a couple of other horses. We got Keep Bustin', who won going 6.5 furlongs as a favorite last time out. May want to look at, I think, My Jopia going from turf to dirt could be a little interesting if the horse can show some third ability again. I mean, again, a wide open race. You can go in many different directions here, and even a horse like Jitney, I would give a little bit of a shot to.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a fun card. Miss Narcissus maybe stands out a little bit, but in the other races, yeah, as you said, I think you can maybe play around at least a little bit in some of those races. It should be a fun afternoon of racing on Saturday down at Aqueduct, as well as this afternoon, where you gave out some selections as well. So, John, good luck with your selections on this Thursday afternoon, and thanks for the visit this morning. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it. Take care.
All right, John DeSilva. Again, racingwithbruno.com. You can find his selections there every racing day. All right, we'll take our next break. When we come back, Dave Rodman of Laurel Park. Stay tuned.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Fascinated by the world of horse racing? Interested in honing your handicapping skills? Class is in session. Night school, Monday nights. Easy to access online. It's free, interactive, and informative for the casual and serious race fan. Horse Player Now Buzz. Live horses to watch emailed to you daily. Our eyes, your prize. Night School in the Buzz. Visit horseplayernow.com for details.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
And welcome back. We're happy to be joined now by Dave Rodman from Laurel Park. Good morning, Dave.
Hi, good morning, Seth. I hope some of your viewers are counting the money from yesterday with all the long shots we had here yesterday.
and that's what it's all about. And we'll touch on some racing for this afternoon in a moment, see if we can give out some good advice there as well. Before we do that, for folks who are, we talked a little during the break, and we were talking, in fact, earlier this morning, Jeff Carl and I on the Handicappers Report. Things are a little nippy up here in upstate New York. What's the weather look like down your way for this afternoon?
Not a bad day today, and it's going to cool off quite a bit next week. Today's high around 52. Expecting maybe a little rain toward the weekend, but we're still on the turf, and speed really held here. on the turf yesterday. Next week, I don't know. It's going to be a little chillier.
Yeah, it's that time of year. Things are getting a little dicey. Well, again, as I say, we'll talk a little bit of racing this afternoon in a moment, but we had you on last week looking forward to what was really a nice day of racing down at Laurel last Saturday. We had Frank Vespi on Monday talking a little bit about it. Give us some of your impressions from racing last week, because not only some nice stakes races, but of course Dance to Bristol retirement ceremony. Was there a good crowd? What was the mood at Laurel last Saturday?
Oh, yeah, we had a good crowd, and a lot of people came out to see Dance to Bristol. A big round of applause for her as a sent her off to retirement as a broodmare. And so there was a lot of emotion, really, for that filly. It was a hometown favorite, and Susan wants to own her. Stated in the winner's circle, had own following, Facebook page, and even when they went to California, they heard cheers and her name called out as she went to the post. So it was an emotional day for all involved, jockeys Xavier Perez as well. Quite a nice ceremony.
Yeah,
but 8 to Fast to Catch, winning the Jennings for the third consecutive year. I mean, I wasn't around in Maryland when Little Bull John was around, but it's kind of turning into a Maryland favorite like that horse was.
Yeah,
at one time.
And my take on him is, I think nationally he's a horse that may float a little under the radar, which is too bad. I think we have to start pumping him up a little bit more, because these are the kind of horses that I think we all root for. You talk about horses going off to the breeding shed too early, but this is one of those war horses that just goes out there and gets it done each and every time, and can easily become kind of a fan favorite.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite, I think, here now. And, he's been well managed. He's not a top echelon horse, but, when he's in the right company, and for a horse as durable as he is at this age, he's gathering a lot of support, I think, outside the region. Now, the name is at least recognizable. A couple of nice 2-year-old races, too, as well. The Copa Breeze, beating the horse that I thought was Immortal Lock.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. We'll pull up the stretch run from the Smart Halo. These are the 2-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs, and certainly the Pletcher runner, Coca-Cola, looked very good coming off the career debut. Pletcher runner is the even money favorite in this race. I will say, Dave, you and I, though, last week both took a look at Bacopa Breeze, and off of those Mountaineer races, thought that the horse may offer a little bit of value and fun in this race, and it is. Bacopa Breeze, the number 2 horse, getting it done at over 6 to 1, getting up there and beating the Pletcher runner, Coca-Cola. So a good addition of the Smart Halo.
Couple of things about the race. The opening quarter for this particular track, this particular day, was very fast, and it was contested, too, with Bacopa Breeze in the mix. So got to give her a little extra credit for that. The second thing is Coca-Cola did not break sharply at all. I don't know why. I've heard a couple of people say that the track perhaps just a little bit cuppy that day, and some horses weren't handling it. But the good thing is she didn't rush up and use a lot of energy. She made a nice sustained run on the turn, a little wide, 4 or 5 wide, and never really gave up the chase in the stretch, but she certainly didn't look like the filly I thought she was. But I think she'll go back to New York. To be honest with you, I got her on the watch list. I think she'll go back to New York and make some noise.
Yeah, I think both of these first 2 are probably going to be 2-year-old fillies to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, but Copa Breeze, take nothing away from her. Like I said, that sharp opening quarter there for this particular track. Anytime you can go 22 here, that's pretty sharp, especially for a young filly like that in a contested pace.
And the other 2-year-old race on Saturday at Laurel was the Lewis. It had a purse of $100,000. Again, 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs. And Dave, am I mistaken, or did you take a look at the Rigateri horse, Jesse the Marine, who went off at 35 to 1?
I was going to say, I thought we mentioned 2 long shots. One of them was last, and one of them was first.
When one of them's first at 35 to 1, it makes up for the one that's last.
Well, I guess so. But a couple of things here. Corfu obviously maybe is the horse who did not move forward as the favorite in the race, finishing, was it 5th? It was, yeah, 5th. And second of all, some big performances from Pure Sensation, who was on the pace, just got nabbed by Jesse the Marine up the rail. And I thought It's a Bang, who was Mass Destruction's brother, who was quite a nice sprinter for Donald Barr, who had trained It's a Bang, also is one to keep an eye on. He's just consistently running big bang-up races, beating 2 next. But, yeah, we thought Jesse the Marine had a shot. based on the fact that he had run against a horse who's not run back yet named Interchange. I don't know what happened to him. I'm thinking maybe they're going to bring him down to Oaklawn this season, rest him up. But I thought he was an okay-looking horse at Delaware Park. Yeah, Justin the Marine, good ride up the rail by Daniel Centeno. And I think he got an 88 buyer's figure out of this at a 110.66 raw time.
Yeah, a very good performance. And again, the top three worth taking a look at. And probably, I don't know what to say. Corfu was a disappointing fifth in the race as the 9-5 favorite. But again, a lot of that was the Pletcher and the connections, Magnier and Tabor. Certainly had run well in the Saratoga Special, flopped in the Hopeful, an okay second in the Futurity. So I would say it's hard to know with some of these horses that just get very precocious and special middle or late summer, whether the class just catches up to them. I'd certainly give Corfu one more look, even though it was kind of a disappointing fifth.
Yes, and particularly Pure Sensation, too, who ran at Saratoga as well. I believe I was up there when that horse ran, and I think he's moved forward quite a bit, too. There was a lot of speed in the race, so we were kind of looking for a closer. Justin the Marine we mentioned, who was a 35-1 winner. The other 35-1 was last, but did have an excuse ready for action. He was shuffled back pretty badly into the turn and never got a chance to regather. So he's a better horse than that, too. You might want to keep an eye on him.
But like I say, if you hand out a couple of long shots in there, 35-1, and both of them 35-1, you can spread your money around a little bit and still make a nice profit. A couple of bucks on both of them only cost you $4, but you pulled back over $70. So that was a nice little call there with Jesse the Marine as being a live long shot. No question about it.
I think we mentioned Service for 10, who did win the day's friend for Damon Dilladovico. I mean, Ben's Cat did not run, and of course that was kind of the headline horse. But then when King was hemming and hawing about, I think they're going to run him up at Penn National, I believe. The Thanksgiving Eve is my guess.
Yeah, and certainly that, speaking of fan favorites, Ben's Cat definitely is in that category, and I was really looking forward to see him taking a shot, but certainly can't argue. I think it's a bigger purse. That race over at Penn National he won last year. Frank Vespi said King Leatherbury was also potentially looking at the fall highweight. I think either of those would be fun.
I was just thinking, just looking at the radar, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. I haven't really read what it was plans were.
Yeah, but again, that Penn National race that he won last year, and it's a pretty good purse, so it wouldn't shock me to see him make that as his choice. All right, Dave, before...
Damon Dilladovico trained that Service for 10, by the way. We got to give kudos to that barn. They claimed him for $25,000. He was third, I believe, in the DeFrancis Dash, and he's really turned into a nice sprinter.
Yeah, you always like to see those claims that go on to do big things. That's certainly a tip of the cap to the connections. All right, Dave, let's take a quick look at some of the races for this afternoon, see if we can hand out some more of those nice winners. We'll kick things off in the 6th today. Always a salty condition. Starter allowance at the 5,000 level. Fillies and Mares, 3-year-olds and up in race 6, and they're going to go 5.5 furlongs.
Yeah, Scratch Gold on Gold and Flatter Me up in here, and the 7, I believe, Marie's Babe is out, but a mare that I kick myself every time I look at the running line. Dixie Shea, I thought, was a pretty good claim. I saw her run at Monmouth and win. She came here in a starter allowance. Didn't really pick her that day today at the races show, and she walloped Satan's Mistress, chasing a fast pace, a good length and a quarter, solid margin there. And then they tried her on the turf last time out. I don't really think she handled the grass as good as they thought she would, or as perhaps thinking that she had some turf pedigree. She was a winner on the turf, but she's, I think, going to come back big time today, Dixie Shea in the 6th.
Yeah, I like the race last time. 2 starts back was essentially the same kind of a race, and so 4-1 today looks a little bit generous. We'll take that one. All right, race number 7, conditional claimer, 20 to 25 tags, non-winners of 2 lifetime. Again, scheduled on the turf at a mile.
Okay. Well lit in Love and Faith, the 2 and the 5, I think, that we could concentrate on. And maybe just try a little exacta box of those 2 if you get lucky. Let me give you a weirdo stat here from Jonathan Shepard. Just kind of toying around with formulated daily racing form. With this kind of layoff, Shepard, Fillies and Mares on the turf, with Alex Cintron aboard, who rides Love and Faith today, take a small guess at the win percentage there. I mean, what would you consider a good percentage for that?
28%.
about 57% from a huge sample. It's amazing.
Nice. And Shepard's my man. So now that you brought that on, I'm going to take a big look at this horse. I'm always all over the Jonathan Shepard horses. Very good.
Yeah, well lit. I think perhaps a little closer to the pace, and that's kind of the way the track was playing yesterday. This is kind of tricky because speed was king indeed on this lawn yesterday, and the Shepard horse is a closer.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. And finally, race number 8 this afternoon, and allowance non-winners are one other than, again, on the turf, this time 5.5.
Again, it's kind of a wide open race here. Jamie Niss trains for Midwest Thoroughbreds, and Miss Dana Lee here sitting at 1,998 wins. Jamie Niss on the verge of 2,000, and I think he's going to inch a little closer today with this filly here in the winner's circle. She chased a hot pace set by Subtle Signal last time out at 40-1 shot, and Spun Silky, who looked to be the goods in the race, was pretty much almost dead last at the top of the stretch and used her stretch kick to just outclass the field. But with a good break, I think she'll be close here. And Kendra Cumrush coming back on her today, Miss Dana Lee, in kind of a wide open race. And if you want to look at a couple of others in there, the 6, the 8, and the 1, if you want to kind of play around.
And I said it yesterday when I was handicapping because there was a Midwest Thoroughbred horse in there. And typically I don't handicap the owners, but if it's Ken Ramsey or Midwest in the claiming game and with horses they're kind of moving around and shopping for spots, they attract my attention a little bit. So Miss Dinah Lee, owned by Midwest Thoroughbreds, again on the owner side, that helps out. Dave, certainly appreciate the visit this morning, and we'll be taking a look at the picks for this afternoon. Good luck. We'll catch up with you next week.
Okay, Seth, I'll talk to you then.
Sounds good. Dave Rodman from Laurel Park. We'll take our next break, our final break of the hour. When we come back, it is going to be Richard Linehan of Tulsa World. Stay tuned.
I'm Jeff Carl. Join me Saturdays and Sundays at 9 for the Handicappers Report. We'll handicap the top tracks across the country and help you prepare for the weekend in racing. That's the Handicappers Report. Weekends at 9, only here on the OTB TV network.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. With a newly designed and engineered internet wagering platform, enhanced video streaming, additional funding options, and 3 new individual wagering opportunities, CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. Combine that with our all-new mobile website. You have 2 of the most powerful, innovative, and advanced wagering platforms available today. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. We are happy to be joined now by Richard Linehan of Tulsa World. He covers for that newspaper racing in that Oklahoma area. We're going to talk a little Remington Park with Richard. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Seth. How are you?
Very good. Happy to have you on board. Certainly, I watch a little Remington racing from time to time, and you had an article just within the past few days talking about a good performance going back to November 13th out there. It's that time of year to watch the 2-year-olds. Second-time starter back at Remington, again on November 13th. This was an optional 75 claimer, non-winners of 2 lifetime. Beau Revell, who we're going to watch coming down the stretch in this 6-furlong race, was coming out of a big maiden victory in the middle of September. and follows it up with a big victory here at Remington Park. We're actually going to pick it up coming out of the starting gate while we talk about this horse. Beau Revelle is the number 1 horse in this race, and keep your eyes on her because, again, in 2 career starts, 2 for 2, she is very impressive in here and gets it done as the 5 cent to $1 favorite. Your thoughts on Beau Revelle?
Well, she is a little 2-year-old filly by Tiz Wonderful, and he's been one of the best 2-year-old crop sires in the country, a son of Tisnell himself. So she has some bloodlines with Gone West on bottom. That's a little Secretariat blood there. And so she should get a route of ground as well as sprinting like she has the first 2 times out.
Yes, she is very impressive in this event. And you noted in your article they had a few offers for this horse?
Yeah, I was talking to the trainer, Scott Young, and he said that they've already had 6-figure offers for her. She's won $34,000 already in 2 starts, and they purchased her at the Fasig-Tipton for $3,500. So they're already banking on track money.
Yeah, a very nice performance here. And I will also note, you had a really interesting thought in your column. You noted that coming up on that Remington Park calendar is the Springboard Mile. And you were thinking, hey, maybe Beau Revelle might be interesting in there. And I bring that up because that Springboard Mile, if it triggers a memory for folks, I talked about it certainly a lot on this show earlier this year because it came out as kind of a hot little race from last December 9th down there at Remington. And folks may remember the horse that finished second. Little 2-year-old called Will Take Charge came out of that Springboard Mile. Might be an interesting spot for the filly to face the boys.
Yeah, you got to wonder where Texas Bling is, don't you?
Yeah.
Did he still take charge last year?
Yeah, and in fact, they came out of that Springboard Mile, and both of them wound up subsequently over at Oaklawn and flipped things around in the follow-up in the Smarty Jones with Will Take Charge winning and Texas Bling running second in that race. So they both validated the Springboard Mile. Will Take Charge subsequently has done much more. But as I say, it was an interesting little 2-year-old race last year, and it would be a great spot to see what kind of talent they have for the filly Beau Revelle.
Yeah, it is. And Scott Young, the trainer of Beau Revelle, is the kind of guy that doesn't really want to put a horse where she doesn't belong, or he's worried about how it will reflect on her future. So he's not going in the Springboard Mile. I talked to him last night, and he said they are going to put her in the $100,000 stakes for 2-year-old fillies going a mile that same day. It's December 15th at Remington Park. So we'll get to see her face the best 2-year-old fillies over there going route of ground first time around, 2 turns for her. But as I said earlier, with Tisnell on top and some Secretariat on bottom, she ought to be able to handle a mile distance, I would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and completely understandable that they're going to stick to their own division. When there's some decent money up and you can stick to your own division, you can look for maybe facing the boys a little further down the line after you've tested the waters, perhaps, but we'll still get to see her on what is that big night out there at the Remington in a few weeks. And speaking of Remington, for the Tulsa World newspaper, you also do selections on the racing days. So we don't normally focus on Remington too much, but it's part of the game plan that we look at here at Capital OTB TV. So we'll get some thoughts from you for a change and see if we can make some selections for Remington for this evening. It is an evening card. And I just noted, Richard, I pulled up the Equibase stats, trainers and jockey stats, and the leading jockeys over there, kind of familiar to those of us who maybe watch a little Oaklawn during the wintertime.
Exactly. We've got Luis Quinones on the top right now. I think he has 52 wins, is the leader, and Alex Berzer has had a real hot meet. He's 50 wins right behind him. And then you got Cliff Berry, of course, who has won a riding title at Oaklawn and is the resident Oklahoma Horse Racing Hall of Fame jockey at Remington Park. He's won about 10 riding titles over there. So you do see a lot of familiar faces, and coincidentally, when I was talking to Scott Young last night, he said that if they do not sell the filly Beau Revelle, that she will be campaigning at Oaklawn this spring.
Oh, nice, and they have a nice little series of races down there for their 3-year-old fillies as well, so we'll keep our eyes on that. All right, Richard, let's get a couple of thoughts. Got a couple of minutes left in the show, but a couple of thoughts for Remington for this evening. You're going to take a look at 2 races, kicking things off with your thoughts in the 4th, which is a claimer at the 5 to 6,250 level, and these are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 1.70 miles.
Yeah, it's a dirt race, and I like the number 1 horse, Fleur de Sel. You get Cliff Berry in the irons, and she's a horse that is coming out of a $10,000 claimer on the turf and going back to the dirt where she ran one of her best races at this distance, 2 races back at the same claiming price. So the dropping class and getting the top jockey perennially over there at Remington Park, she should be very solid in this spot. Listed at 4-1 in the morning line. If we can get that, we can go to the bank.
Yeah, and looking back at that race 2 races back, it looks like she's getting right back to her comfort zone.
Exactly, and I think you got to throw the 2 and the 3 in with her. Berzer's on the 3 horse. He won 3 last night, and then the number 2 horse is a long shot. I'm looking at Passion Talk, a strong closer with Lindy Wade in the irons, and should be coming at the end.
All right, and let's take a look out at race 8 this afternoon. Another claiming event, 6,250 to 7,500. These are 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs.
Got a horse named Jenna's Lemon in the 8-hole that has the combo of Ken Tohill in the saddle with trainer Chris Hartman, another guy that you'll see a lot at Oaklawn. And this horse is 2 for 5 at Remington Park, 3 for 5 either first or second at Oklahoma City. And then I've got a couple of long shots I'm going to play with the number 8, Jenna's Lemon. I'm going to play the 2 horse, I'm Here for a Good Time, and number 7, Strategic Player. So the number 2 horse is 15-1 probably, and showed signs of life last fall here at Remington Park. Just hasn't found his stride yet this year.
All right, so we may have a little value in some exacta plays there at Remington this evening. Richard, we certainly appreciate the visit. Happy to have you on board, and I anticipate maybe reaching out to you before that springboard mile to get a little update as we approach a big night out at Remington in mid-December. So we'll wish you good luck this evening with your selections, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
I'll be glad to do it, Seth, and may all your horses have the longest noses, my man.
There you go. I like that. Thank you. Richard Linehan from Tulsa World. All right, that's going to wrap things up for Racing Across America for this Thursday morning. Did talk with Richard Linehan, got a little update on a nice 2-year-old to keep our eyes on, 2-year-old filly to keep our eyes on, who has raced now 2 for 2 out at Remington, Beau Revell. Keep that in your, tuck that in your back pocket for the future as far as the 2-year-old fillies and out into the 3-year-old season after the first of the year. Also, we talked a little earlier with Dave Rodman and John DeSilva, caught up with Laurel and New York for this afternoon. That'll wrap things up. Racing Across America here every Monday through Friday from 10 till 11 a.m. Earlier in the day was the Handicappers Report. Hopefully we gave you some winners. Good luck at the races this afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.